Leonard Part 6. Now, this one does not quite live up to Leonard Part 1 through 5. You know, those Leonards were Oscar worthy. This one is kind of a letdown. Bill Cosby isn't quite as funny in it, but his butler and Nurse Kavala are really funny in it. So you can always look forward to their performances in this movie. Nurse Kavala was in Leonard Part 1 through 5, though, and she was great in all of those, and so is the butler. But Bill Cosby put more of an effort into those movies. So Leonard Part 6. What can be said about this movie? I did not find it as bad as everyone says it is. But as I said, Bill Cosby just seemed not to put in the effort into this movie. So it starts out with a fish killing a man. Now, not the fish isn't hurled through the man's chest, which would be a cool death for Jason to do against someone. The fish is trained to eat a man, but fish don't have teeth, so I'm not sure how this is possible, but it happens. So remember, kids, whenever swimming, watch out for those rainbow trout. They have a way of eating you without teeth. So then we cut to the CIA, who decide to try to bring Leonard back. Though as we've seen at the end of Part 5, he retired. This is 7 years later, and his wife has still not taken him back. He runs a restaurant now. And they send Monroe, who tries to kill Leonard, but Leonard outwits him, and Monroe dies. And Leonard drags his body back to CIA, hears about the animals being trained to kill people, and says, "Nope, I don't want to come back." And that was not the episode that Joe Don Baker, who plays Snyderburn, wanted to hear. So Joe Don Baker mocks Leonard, at which point Leonard just walks out. Now, of course, if animals were killing people, CIA would probably just go in there with a bunch of guys and kill them all, like they did with the people in that cult. Just take an army of 100 men and just shoot up the place. Or bomb it. We know what Trump would do. He'd launch a nuke against it. So then Leonard's daughter arrives to announce she's in a play and she's dating the 66-year-old director, leading Leonard to call his wife and get a date with her, at which point she dumps food all over him, leading him back into action after seeing Nurse Kavala and getting ballet shoes and a bee, and he steals the spear that supposedly trains these animals. Now, spears don't really train animals, unless you just bounce it off their head repeatedly until they start listening. Okay, that joke was cruel. You can train animals with spears. I just don't know how. So then Medusa, who's the evil villain in this movie, decides to get the spear back by kidnapping Leonard's wife after the play. The play in which Leonard's daughter is naked, which does not make Leonard happy, because no one wants to see their grown daughter naked. So Leonard gets the spear back from the CIA and goes back to the villain's headquarters, this time getting meat patties, a hot dog, and melted butter from Nurse Kavala. Once again, Nurse Kavala and the butler of Leonard's butler are the funniest people in this movie. In which case, he is taken hostage along with his wife, but they use the melted butter to get the lobsters away and escape, leading to the final showdown where Leonard lights the place on fire using meat patties, because all vegetarian headquarters can be lit on fire with meat patties. Everyone knows this. Even if you go to a vegetarian's house and you bring a burger, as long as it's thawed, you can throw it on the ground and it'll light the place on fire. That's how vegetarian places work. And his wife leading this animal safely out. And then Leonard defeats the financier, Medusa's financier, throwing his Alka-Seltzer in the liquids, in the giant tubs of liquid, causing them to boil over, and him to escape on an ostrich, which is the only ostrich that can fly, because ostriches cannot fly, and going home, where he gets back together with his wife. As I said, this is not the greatest movie in the world. It's not as bad as people say it is, because Nurse Kavala and the butler are really funny. Bill Cosby kind of puts in a mid-effort. But Joe Don Baker's pretty funny in it too. So that is Leonard Part 6. Join me next week where I forget what I'm going to talk about on the wrestling show because I haven't got a lot of sleep this week. And next week's movie is Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Hopefully there will be chainsaws, there will be Hollywood, and there will be hookers. Everything a grown boy needs.